him. His elbows are a little bit bent. He's over the bike. But, you know, Dan's really a strong racer.
Yeah, you know, these fixed gear bikes, you got to develop a smooth pedal stroke. And it looks like this rider dropped his chain, and man, it's just going downhill from there, getting tangled up in the fat flags.
He's trying to get into the pit. You can see him running next to the pack right now.
The next grant recipient, the Buddhist Study Association. The BSA was created to promote the
Well, there's a lot of different levels out there, you know, and it's all about participation. It really is. So much goes into this race. So although they might not finish on the front today, that was Sigma Pi. They're involved and they're active, and that's really a great thing. It's beauty about the little 500.
You're right, Jason. I think just being a participant is something that's really amazing for a lot of these guys, and probably something that they'll never forget for their entire lives. You know, they can say to their kids and to their grandchildren that I was in the little 5.
50 years from now, this race will still be going on. They'll be coming back, and they'll be, you know, on Kirkwood where you are talking about the race.
That's right.
A ton of alumni have come in. People who have ridden, people who have had a chance to watch this event. And it is definitely a spectacle. And can you make the argument that this is the greatest bike race on American soil?
It's the world's greatest collegiate bike race. I think about Philly and San Francisco Grand Prix. Now it's the Tour of California. There's other great bike races here, and there's certainly different ability levels. But the great thing about these guys is that they're students, right? They're not professional athletes. So they go to class, they're looking for jobs after college, and it's really, it's about the bike race, but it's also about growing as an individual.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you could see the riders before the race actually even started walking up to each other and kind of, you know, hugging each other and saying, you know, good luck. And that's something that's really unique and special about collegiate racing. And I think, you know, we've seen a lot of good athletes come out of the collegiate ranks and go on to have great careers. And I have to tell you, as someone who raced on a college team and then went on to race at the professional levels, some of my best memories were with my buddies, you know, and traveling around the country in a van and showing up to some university for a bike race. Those were good times, and I guarantee you that these guys out here are going to develop memories today that will last a lifetime.
And sometimes it's tougher when you don't have a team like Discovery or U.S. Postal kind of helping you out. You know, we heard yesterday strategy was eating a loaf of bread. I mean, another thing about being a college student is, right, you don't have that disposable income. So these guys do what they can. They train, they go to class, and they work hard.
How much money does it take if you're an independent team?
It takes quite a bit to compete in this race. As we talked about yesterday, they go on training trips at Christmas breaks and spring breaks. So the teams in the houses that do have that larger budget, and I've seen budgets up to $10,000, right, where the riders get bikes and they have the training trips paid for and the kits. Just a lot goes into it. And they get that by donations from alumni.
The purpose of this race is to generate money for the IU Student Foundation, of which, all told, they have given away almost $2 million in scholarship money towards working students, because Bill Armstrong was a working student here, and that's what he wanted to try and pay back. And this year, this event will cover all the operating expenses for the IU Foundation. It's a non-for-profit organization and will allow them to give out close to $80,000 in scholarship money this year alone.
You know, Jed, a few moments ago, we saw the Major Taylor coach giving a signal to his rider, the letters OJ. We don't know what that means, but it obviously means something to the Major Taylor riders, and it's part of their strategy. Maybe it means we're 10 more laps until your exchange. Who knows? But it just shows how important their strategy is and how important it is to keep it secret.
It's really fun because they're trying to deceive other teams. You have code names that go into it. And I'm going to think that's orange juice. I'm not going to get into that.
You know, I think we have 6 teams on the lead lap right now. Fiji, unfortunately, was just lapped. And who knows, maybe we'll see Fiji take this as an opportunity to collaborate and help one of the other teams win, just like we saw yesterday.
3 teams now at the front of the pack. Phi-Side just changed. They're going to come up and join that. It's Team Major Taylor in pink and light blue, Black Key Bulls in white putters. They won the spring series. In green, catching up Phi-Side, they were the pole sitter today.
And it looks like Dodds House and Fiji and Beta are all a little bit down. Those three teams are chasing. Dodds, although they have 4 really strong guys, I haven't seen them. Looks like they've been chasing a little bit today, expending a lot of that energy. That may factor into the end of the race.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, one of the things that they talked about in talking with some of their riders, guys, before the race is they wanted to stay in the top 4 all day. The downside is that if you do a lot of pacemaking, you might not have a lot at the end.
Sure, if you're on the front or if you're chasing, you're gonna feel that. Your legs are really gonna feel that in one gear towards the end of the race.
It's really a fine balance, you know, and I think that's part of the strategy that we're seeing played out so well by Major Taylor, where they're really relying on the team to make keep the middle, you know, the beginning and the middle part of the race and save their fast guy, make him fresh, put him out there in the last 20 laps, and he hasn't touched the wind at all. Whereas we see Cutters and the Black Key Bulls and some of the other teams are really using all 4 riders to stay at the front, stay out of trouble, keep the pace, but, you know, maybe have something at the end. Well, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see how the strategy plays out here.
Team Major Taylor making a move along the outside.
I think you're going to see an exchange from them. Riding well, you can see the guy. He's really up on the front of the saddle, really just turning those pedals.
You know, and I think that just shows how fresh he is, that he's able to expend this much energy on an exchange. And set up his teammate. It looks like you know, this is going to be a good exchange.
That's Kenny Parks coming in.
Kenny is just put right back at the tail end of that lead group, and that's exactly how you want to do it.
The Fiji's, team number 7.
Alphonse Agnick is the man up on the bike. And again, to remind everybody, not only is it 200 laps, but the men have to make a minimum of 10 exchanges. And with Ali Kamara riding the first 61 laps, exchanges are going to be a factor for them. They've got to get them in.
Well, not only that, but I'm getting reports that Major Taylor's only done 5 exchanges so far.
Results of lap 130. Team Major Taylor, team number 8, 1 hour 22 minutes.
With respect to some of the exchanges, guys, does this remind you at all of last year's race, Jason? Because last year was Hans Arneson who rode the bulk of the laps for ATO, last year's winner, and he lapped the field.
Exchanges did come up for ATO last year. The big difference between last year and this year is last year you saw one team really attack and then put a lap on every other team in the race. This year I think the pace is quite a bit slower and it's really just together. It really favors sprinters as opposed to, you know, breakaway riders and guys that like to time trial.
Things have slowed up along turn 3 as we're about to hit lap 136, 200 laps in this race.
It's pretty amazing, the crowd here today. The stands are absolutely packed.
And they don't sit down either, Dylan. I mean, they're on their feet the whole time. You see entire residence halls, entire fraternities out there, you know, supporting their teams. It's just packed. I bet there's 20,000 people here today.
And not only that, but the block parties that are going on right now from, you know, house to house. It's almost like a shopping mall of parties out there.
How about the bands at some of the concerts taking place this weekend? 3-6 Mafia playing the A Pie House.
Nice.
Yellow Card was here, but they come in, they pack the stadium, and they go back out. They go back to those house parties.
And Jason, one of the things that you had talked about, you'll see a few members of fraternities here early. What was that for? To save some seats?
Oh, sure, the junior people in the fraternities, right? The pledges, they have to get there a little bit earlier than everyone else. The race started at 2. I'd say they were here at 8 a.m. reserving seats for the senior people in the house.
Well, as I talked to one of the fraternity members, and we'll let that house go nameless, they said it has been a long week of ... Coming across for lap 138, Black Key Bulls, Team Major Taylor, Dodds House in purple, Cutters in white, Phi-Sci in the turquoise. Technically, I guess that would be green. They are the pole sitters.
You know, we haven't seen a lot of action yet today, Jason. Really, the only efforts have been mostly done to do these exchanges. You know, we see here the Dodds House and Team Major Taylor really drilling it to set up their riders for an exchange. But other than that, everybody's been pretty content to kind of sit in and wait for the end of the race. Is that common? Is that something that you've seen before?
The fun thing about it is it changes every year.
Yeah.
In 2002, Corleone's did an attack late in the race, about lap 170, and they do 4 to 5 lap sets each rider, and they just manage to stay off the front. Some years you see as many as 12 teams on the front towards the finish. It really just kind of depends how the race plays out.
Five-side trying to give themselves some space. They're looking for an exchange.
Again, Five-Side's that team in green, and they get the green jersey for being the pole sitter, the fastest team in qualifications. They really do have good exchanges. This is not one of their better ones. But the value in being off the front and getting that gap, even though the exchange wasn't great, it's a completed exchange. The next rider's right in together.